Well, it's too hot in here. Can't get the heat adjusted well enough to finish sleeping, so I guess I'll do this video. Um, this is a video that I've been meaning to do for quite some time. Um, well, this is a message I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time. And I've been getting sidetracked, if you know what I mean. This is where I begin to stick to my message. And it doesn't matter to me who feels unqualified to give it, or who does, or I'm sorry, who feels I'm qualified to give it and who doesn't. Doesn't matter. I know from my experience in my walk of faith. I know from my own consequences, okay? And I know from watching everybody around me suffer consequences. I know this is what needs be. I'm trying to help those out there that are horny. Okay? This is the topic. Trying to help you out there that are horny. Because when we go out and we look at a lovely lady, we don't think about her as much as we think about what she's packing, what she's the vessel that she's walking in. Know what I mean? I mean, when you look at a lady, you don't just look at her face. You don't just look her in her eyes. You look at her whole body. And that is a man for you. Women do the same thing, but women aren't as visual as men. I'm reminded of the story, though. I think women becoming like men when it comes to sexuality is the most dangerous thing on the planet. It really is. I mean, if a woman allows herself to become, you know, to the point to where she just dives in to her basic desires for sexuality and not really play, you know, hard to get, so to speak, like we did back in the, like women did back in the 80s and 70s, you know. I remember growing up in the house with my cousins. I had 4 gorgeous cousins and their gorgeous mom. My mom, my grandmother. The house was my aunt, you know, and all their friends coming over. The house was full of women. Lovely women. And I remember how the boyfriends would come over and they was always trying to hurry up and get to that, you know, jackpot. They was always trying to skip over the romantic stuff and get to the nitty gritty. And I mean, they would come in there and they would, you know, I had to leave the room. They would always ask me to leave the room because, you know what I mean? They putting their hand up their blouse and, you know, trying to run his hand down to the thigh and you know what I mean? He just like, you know, I watch these guys get their game on. And back then, you know, you went over a girl's house while her parents were upstairs. And her dad was on his way home from work, and you left it up to her, you know, that if you got her all hot and bothered, where she wanted to do it at. Did she want to go down to the basement, or did she want to leave and go down to the football field, or where did she want to go to do this? And we tend to forget about the scars of various women. I remember back in coming up in church camp, I remember how, I didn't know nothing about these lovely ladies around me. I'm thinking, I'm not getting laid. I'm not meeting, these wicked women, out there, and, going behind the bushes and all like that. But when they did the altar call, when they did the message and they did the altar call, there were so many tears. These young girls coming up to the altar and crying, and they were so, their hurt came forward, like it came out of them, like what these girls were going through. We cover it up every day. We go out, we drink, we're having illicit sex. We meet somebody, we have sex, and then we try to act like it's no big deal. But sex is always a big deal. Just like if you pull out a gun, or you take a pill, or you sign a paper, or you pull out a knife, you got to be careful where you sit that knife. You know what I'm saying? If you get in somebody's car, these are things that can be made, these are decisions that can be made quickly, but they can mess up your entire life. They can ruin you for life if you're not careful. And sex is no exception. People have sex like, eating pizza. Oh, it's just pizza. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not just pizza. It's not just pizza. I'm reminded of the story of a girl who, well, it's not really a story, it's something that I witnessed. And I have to think about her all the time. But I'm reminded of the story of a girl who was attracted to a friend of mine. And, they were both Christian, the girl and the guy. But the guy was on the role of being a minister. He was a young man trying to become a minister. And so the older men in the church had his attention. And, him and this girl, they worked together. And she went to one church denomination and he went to a different one. But they started becoming real good friends and so forth and so on. And this guy is a Christian, not because he didn't have the confidence to go and tell this girl, like, hey, I really like you. I'd like to get with you. Let's go out on a date, whatever. He, would always talk to her and make her smile and make her blush, but he would never pop the question or give any answers, if you know what I mean. So one day, her, this girl was not thinking in terms of relationships, and she wasn't thinking about her future. She was thinking about, meeting somebody and having sex. But the person she wanted to have sex with was the person that she really, really, really was attracted to. And, they were both Christian, and she was just like dealing with her own hormones at that moment and dealing with her own cravings. And he wasn't scratching that itch. So her supervisor, boss at work, very young, handsome, pretty boy, he starts making moves on her because she was fairly new to the company as far as the other women that work, customer service. And she was very pretty. I think, in my opinion, too, she had to be the prettiest girl there, and this happens to pretty women all the time. But he making his moves on her, and everybody's watching, and everybody's whispering, And finally, after, her and her supervisor secretly went out on a few dates or whatever, they built a relationship out of those dates because here we go. We got two people having sex. They're having a great time. Okay, why worry about the other guy? Why worry about the other woman? Why worry about, these other things that might be responsibilities, but yet at end, we're having sex, we're having a great time. Okay? And that's what happened. And so they kept on moving in with each other, and when things didn't work out, he would go home, he would go back home to his place because he kept his apartment and all like that. And it got to the point to where she was wondering if he was going to propose to her, but it was just, and she knew deep down in her spirit and in her heart that he's not the one. But yet, she's got a relationship. She's in a situation where she's having sex. She's got a guy that's taking her out, and he's taking her out on the town, and he's, But they weren't a couple. They were breaking up and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together, moving out and moving back in together, right? Well, finally, one day, she had to let him know that she was pregnant with his child. We all know that changes everything. That changes everything. That doesn't only change it between them, but it changes between herself and any other man that she has her eyes on. Because what happens when a woman has a kid, less people want to go out with her. She'll get asked out by some desperate guys or get asked out by some guys that don't care. Either way, which is not a good thing. You should care because it's all about responsibility, right? But here she is with a baby. Okay? Now she wants to... So eventually what happened was she ended up, before everybody knew that she was pregnant, she ended up quitting her job and getting another job. Okay? Now, the supervisor, after a while, was honest that he got her pregnant and that he had to go and meet with her responsibilities of the child. They were still going out together, but they weren't the happy couple. But it was like, if it was one of them nights when everything was smooth, okay, sex, you know what I mean? Go have fun with the baby. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful night for all three of them, right? But, again, we're back to breaking up and getting back together and breaking up and getting back together. Some weekends she's alone, other weekends she's not, So she starts trying to call on the Christian man, okay, the other brother. But, all of a sudden, because she's a woman with a child now, she's not the pretty girl who's just standing around waiting on guys to hit on her anymore. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So when he seen her, he had been praying for her and everything. But, he's not a fornicator. And he didn't expect her to be a fornicator. And not only that, his future doesn't involve him taking care of somebody else's kid. He's not going to father a kid that already has a father. See what I'm saying? So you got that. Now that's that. Let me go here. What people don't understand about fornication, that's the word, fornication. everything comes from fornication. Because fornication doesn't just start with our bodies, it starts in our mind. Fornication is responsible for everything from teens having sex at a young age behind their parents' back, okay, all the way to homosexuality and child molestation. Fornication, if you read, the Texas Receptus versions, fornication is not just a word to say, oh, a man is having sex with prostitutes or something of that sort. No, that's not the true identity of the word. The true meaning of the word fornication is, it's two things. It's fornication against God. In other words, being unfaithful to God in any kind of way, number one. By conversation or the way you carry yourself, being unfaithful to God. Okay? And then the other term of fornication is to practice sex without, the consent of marriage. Okay? Outside the bonds of marriage. Okay? So there's a spiritual fornication and there's a physical fornication. Okay? Back in the cultures, in the beginning, and we brought this to America, thank God, but in Israelite culture, all the way to Middle Eastern culture, those two cultures combined, back in the beginning, back in the early days, they were the first to practice the law in the Bible that says if you sleep with a woman, you're married to that woman. And you're stuck with that one woman for the rest of your life. Now, the problem with that is, when you have a culture where people don't necessarily go out on dates and guys and ladies don't go out and meet each other and all this, it's real easy for a man to grab sex wherever he can get it. Okay? If you allow your mind to take you overboard like that. But in that culture, it says in the Bible that if you lay down with a woman, you must marry her. And so marriage in the beginning was not about, like having weddings. Marriage was about faithfulness. You met a woman, okay, you slept with her, and now she's yours, okay, and the two of you can never ever sleep with anybody else. That's it, okay. Weddings came later. If you go back to the book of Genesis, Exodus, you'll see that weddings came later. Weddings were more for the royal people and the people that were, pillars in the community and so forth and so on. But, the average Joes and Janes, would come and, they would just show evidence of marriage. Okay? That they have a woman with them, or they have a man with them. Okay? Now the community was watching them very clearly and closely to make sure that they did not fall into adultery. And you know what it says in the scriptures. If they did so, they got stoned to death or something of that nature. Okay? But in the beginning, before there was ever weddings, in the Middle East and in Israel, Jews and Indians and Arabs practice, they abstain from fornication. Okay? Also, this helps as far as a woman being a virgin. Now, and a man's virginity is just as important, according to Scripture. But a woman's virginity is very, very, very important. People don't realize just how important a woman's virginity is. Um, but the virginity situation doesn't help if there's not strong responsibility of it. Now, in the Bible, women that were virgins were so highly praised and highly put on a pedestal that, the princes and kings gave their virgin daughters coats of many colors. And they had special clothing that they wore because they were virgins. They looked better than the other women, okay? They dressed better than the other women because they were virgins. And it was very important for the world to know that these women are pure in that way, because to be pure in that way was like a woman being, Miss Alabama or Miss Pennsylvania or, a pageant contest or something. It was like very, very important. It wasn't about exploiting these women. It was about putting them on the pedestal of purity, because a woman was considered very, very pure if she kept her virginity. Now, men keeping their virginity was strictly between a man and God. It wasn't between a man and the community like it was a woman. Men kept their virginity, but only the church gave men praise for keeping their virginity. Okay? And a man keeping his virginity was also always meant for a man that keeps his virginity to be with a woman that was a virgin. Now, a woman could be with a man that wasn't a virgin if that man was willing to scratch out everything from his past and start off new with this virgin. Okay? Everybody was cool with that. But the men, if they were virgins, they always had to be with a virgin. There was no women coming around going to teach a man how to have sex, or a man how to... No. The most blessed relationship is that a man and a woman, a heterosexual man and a heterosexual woman, okay, discover sex by themselves by having sex with each other in holy matrimony. Okay? Now, the fathers would help their sons out, speak to their sons if there was a problem in the marriage where the son came to the father and said, this is what's going on. The father would tell the son of his findings and his experiences. Okay? So that's that. Okay? Sex is whenever you disrespect your virginity, you dishonor your body. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Whenever you treat your virginity like it doesn't mean anything, you dishonor your body. Also, when you go out and you commit fornication, whether it be, somebody you met at work, or, the new boyfriend, the new girlfriend, a gay relationship, or whatever, it's all fornication, and it's all dishonoring your body. And if you read the scriptures in the Old Testament and the New Testament, you'll find out that it's very, very possible. Some Christians may disagree with me, so I'm not going to say a definite, but it's very possible that AIDS and herpes and gonorrhea and syphilis and the different things that can happen through sexual contact, okay, are curses and punishments for the practice of fornication. Okay? Can I help you? Give me a second. Oh, not yet, not yet. My new neighbors coming to me. I'm not the maintenance man, Everybody's complaining about how hot it is. Like, turn it off. It's 50 degrees outside. You don't need heat on in the house. You know what I mean? Room temperature is enough when it's 50 degrees outside. Even with that, you got to open a window. Come on, man. You know, oh, well, we're going to wait until the middle of April. Well, okay. You know what I'm saying? You're going to lose tenants, including me, like that. Okay? Because I miss controlling my own heat. But everything is like that now. Everybody's doing that. You know, especially right now with this thing that's going on. All the landlords and in that are trying to control your heat. Especially if you're sharing the bill of the gas with your landlord, or you got free heat. You know, like I have free heat. So they control the heat. You know, they control the heat instead of us being able to turn it off or turn it down or up when we want to, you know, and that's the situation we have to go through. Anyway, getting back to this. I can't wait for them to turn that heat off. I'm getting ready to go get me another air conditioner. Oh God, last year I used the air conditioner in the house. I had to take it out because it was letting a bunch of things in here, but I had to take the air conditioner out. It's not the right fit for my window because there's no kit for it. And my windows are like some kind of state-of-the-art new design that, you know, they don't make air conditioners for them yet. But, you know, let me get back to this. So whenever you practice fornication, you dishonor your body. That's what the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. All other sin is outside the body, but he that practices fornication dishonors his own body. And this is what people of the world don't understand. This is what, unless you go to a good, you know, a good, what's the word for it? A good senior church denomination. Okay? You know, a good senior, I don't want to say old-fashioned, but senior. You know, a good pioneer church denomination. Okay? They're not going to teach you this. You know what I'm saying? Some churches, they rather do like the schools and hand out condoms instead of teaching kids the importance of saving their virginity. Okay? But virginity is a beautiful thing, especially for a young lady. Holding on to her virginity is a good thing. And it's a good thing, period, for everybody that is going to walk with God. That it's important. It is our culture to control ourselves sexually, to keep our sexuality under control. It is our culture. Sex in the Christian community, that's the way it is. We start off with virginity, and then once, you know, marriages don't work, and, you know, so on and so on, we go to secondary virginity, third, you know, virginity, fourth step virginity. We're always abstaining, and we keep it within marriage regardless. Now today, and I think it's a good thing, we you know, like we got all them Christian songs out there by Out of Eden and other lady bands to talk about no ring, no sex. And that's good for women to be like that. Like, no wedding ring, no sex. Okay? There's a little rap style that goes with that. But No wedding ring, no sex. Okay? No wedding ring, no sex. And this is the way a lot of even modern Christian women have come back to in the idea of, Christian romantic relationships and marriage and sex. Okay, they've come back to this principle that no ring, no sex. Okay, and it's not just like, oh, please put a wedding ring on me or don't have sex with me. No, the whole point of going out and going on dates and all like that is so that you find out how you connect with people spiritually. Okay, but there's no reason for anybody to say, oh, sex now or die. There's no reason for anybody to say, and even in the gay community, you want to know why a lot of people that would be gay never became gay? Because when they practice the same principles, okay, as the rest of the church, okay, they found out later that they didn't really need to be gay. They found out that if sex is about, they found out that, okay, if I need to have sex right now or die, okay, hey, any guy will do, your daddy, your little sister, whatever, anything will do because I got to have this right now. But when you been in the church and you followed the other young people that are good Christians in the church, and they're having a blast while they don't practice fornication. All their friends in school and college are doing it, but they're not, and they're happy. They're happy. Okay? You follow these people, pretty soon you're going to realize that, wait a minute, I don't need to be gay. Now that, I'm past my teen years and I'm learning more about friendships with women and friendships with men, and I'm keeping this gay problem between me and the Lord. I just found out I'm not gay. It's not that I'm gay, it's just a matter of if I'm going to have a relationship with a woman, it's going to be like this, but which is hard to get. But it's easier to do this over here with guys because, well, they seem to be available. If they're trying to pull me into their little clique, okay? So that's what happens with people who start to have gay feelings while they're in the church, and they decide that, hey, I'm still going to practice the same culture that the church is practicing, even if I have gay feelings, even if I have gay tendencies. I'm going to practice the culture that is currently going on in the church. And they find out that maybe they're not gay. Okay? After all. Okay? Sex is a responsibility. Okay? It's not about, just like I said, you got to think about sex like pulling out a gun, pulling out a knife, taking a pill. Red pill or blue pill, which one is it going to be? Sex is worth waiting even a lifetime for. Okay? Most people today that get married are very childish about marriage. I used to go out there and yell at people for having sex outside of marriage. I don't no more, because you know what? They're just as much bad marriage material as they are sex material. Because, if they get married, they're not ready to settle down. They're not ready to commit. They're not ready to you don't get into a marriage complaining about how much money your woman makes. Come on, guys. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? If you marry a woman, you take care of her. Okay? And if she wants to go out and do a little part-time job or something, to help make ends meet so that y'all can pay the cable bill and buy another car or whatever, that's fine. But the thing is, okay, this is where, roles that we play in the church are all about great sex and great marriage, because men take care of their women. Men take care and protect their women. A man is a woman's covering. He is her king. He is her security. Okay? He is, her pillar. Okay? A woman leans on her husband. And when you got a woman that can't do that, then what you got now is a woman that's contemplating feminism. Because where have the men shown that they are able to really, really take care of their women? Okay? And love is a pillar. Love is a pillar. Okay? Love is the pillar that holds everything up. You go out and every guy wants the same girl. They want Amy. Let's say Amy. Amy is so hot. But Amy can't be with everybody. That would be porn. Okay? Amy can't be with everybody. Okay? But, if Amy decides to not be with anybody, but wait for God knows how long to be with the right man. I know some women right now as I speak that are doing this. And they're happy because they make it a decision to be happy. It's all up to you. Okay? They make a conscious decision to be happy. Regardless of no matter what. Okay? And they've gone years without a relationship. And they're waiting on the right one. Like my girl on the Tribe Report. Sophie. Listen to her talk. I think she's single. My only problem with that is I think she meets guys every now and then. And, she'll sleep with them to see where it goes. Now, that's something I want to say real fast in closing here. You can fall in love through fornication. People do it every day. Sex first, and then we fall in love with each other. Okay? But the problem with that is it's not responsible. And it's going to turn around and bite you in the back, in the butt. Okay? It really is. You have to decide, make a conscious decision that not only you're going to keep your virginity, but you're going to give that virginity to the right man, and vice versa to the right woman. Okay? And even after you've been divorced and you still have kids and so forth, you still need to, again, go back to the beginning and be responsible. A woman should look for a man that's going to take care of her and protect her and be her security and be her pillar. Cover her. Okay? A woman has a right to look for a man that's going to do that for her. So therefore, a woman has a right to be concerned about if a man makes enough money to take care of the two of them. Okay? And build a future, for the two of them so that they can have kids in the near future. Okay? A man has a right to look for a woman who is, 0 on the slut scale. Okay? He has a right to look for a woman that's not having sex. Okay? A guy that goes out and sleeps with a woman that just had sex with one of his friends last week. Okay? And y'all talking about it. She's never going to be anything to you but a hooker. She's not going to be anything to you but another, another one night stand. And if you begin to fall in love with her, here we go. This ties into what I'm saying. If you fall in love with her, you're going to have problems because she has a history of illicit sexual activity that she never repented for. And vice versa, guys too. This is why the couple in the beginning that I mentioned, she turned down the Christian man for a man that was going to hit it fast. And that's what a lot of these modern day women want. They want a man that's going to hit it fast. She did that, and now she got a man that can't stay with her. One minute he cares about her, one minute he don't. One minute he's there for his child, another minute he's not. Okay, why? Because, you know, nobody's going to be responsible without patience. Nobody's going to be responsible without sacrifice. Okay? All right? The Bible says, keep our bodies under subjection, holy and acceptable under God as a living sacrifice, lest we become disqualified. Okay? That's the Christian community. But love is a pillar that holds everything up. Everybody screws, but not everybody fixes. Everybody screws, but not everybody fixes. You got a screwdriver, and you got your screws, and you're doing a good job, but you became impatient, and you don't understand that there's more to the problem than just the screwdriver and the screws. You have to actually go in and fix something inside the chassis. You can't just lock it and hurry up and get it done. I've had this problem back when I used to fix my own cars, okay? And people had to show me that you got to check this first and check that first, and I had to invest in some money on special equipment to check all these different things, okay? And read these graphs and you know, machinery and all this kind of thing. But that's it. Everybody screws, but not everybody fixes. We got to learn how to fix things. You know what I'm saying? If we're out there and we're thinking about sex, we're thinking about being with somebody, we got to immediately have the tools, all the graphs, the meters, everything we need to do to fix this situation. Because the situation needs to be fixed. Because he was sleeping with somebody else, she was sleeping with somebody else, and there's baggage, and then there's, like, you know, somebody wanting sex, but, you know, and listen to this in closing. Most men who brag about their sexual encounters, they brag about their sexual encounters because they've been dumped so many times by women. They don't brag about their sexual encounters because they're just going out there sleeping with all these women. If you're sleeping with all these women, show me the money. Show me the car. Show me the house. Show me the free tickets. Show me free everything. No, you're sleeping with all these women because these women keep dumping you. And you want to call it, oh, you know, I slept with a lot of women, and vice versa. A lot of women are doing the same thing towards men. No. You slept with so many women, or you slept with so many men because you don't know how to be responsible for the relationships in your life. Okay? And that's the problem. Okay? So instead of always having a hard-on or a wet-on for sex, you need to have a hard-on and a wet-on for the responsibility that goes with it first, because all of it is responsibility. Okay? So God bless you. I am D. Roy Cruz. I am your Life Applications Officer. Thank you for watching.